For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here, and so is Super Bowl weekend. The big game. And I'm interested to see how many Super Bowl parties happen this weekend and who gets up to the fun antics. You know, it's tough because, you know, the experts, the medical experts are saying, everybody do not have a Super Bowl party. Don't go anywhere. Stay in your home, stay in your bubble, whatever you call it. And I'm just fascinated to see that there's places, events, venues that are selling tickets. And you almost want to say, like, you clearly don't care about your customers, though. Absolutely, you can say we're promoting social distancing, you have to come in wearing a mask, whatever. That's not the point. The point is, the experts are saying, don't go out, don't do it. I realize that, yes, that could cripple the economy, but, you know, it's become the regular argument now of what's more important, though, the health of society or money, right? The government. Anyway, let's not get into that. We're not talking politics. What we are going to talk about is a disgraced country singer who's had his life and career shattered just by a drunken escapade last weekend. You know what I'm talking about. Morgan Wallen, the story's been in the news that he's essentially, I mean, you can say that he's the victim of cancel culture, but his own actions are the ones that got him canceled. So is he still a victim at that point? We're going to have a discussion with Bonnie Winters, our executive producer, coming up in just a few moments. And also, awards show season is here. Or is it? It's not. Not quite yet. You know, we should already be a month into award shows, and they haven't started. They will, though, in a couple of weeks, supposedly. Fingers crossed, knock wood. And we'll talk about why people just don't give a crap about award shows anymore. So lots to talk about. It's 30 minutes of time-wasting fun on the Scribble, and it starts right after this.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Another day, another celebrity scandal. By now, we've heard how country singer Morgan Wallen has really been canceled. I think that's the term now. Our executive producer, Bonnie Winters, is joining us on the line to talk about the downfall of a rising star. Hi, Bon Bon.
Hi, JB. How's it going?
Well, it's okay. It's better than Morgan, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yes. Sad.
Now, let's recap. I mean, the story's been in the news, but in case somebody hasn't tuned in, Morgan Wallen, a country singer, 27 years old. Now, he made headlines a few months ago when he was set to appear on SNL, and he was the musical guest. But he broke their corona quarantine protocol and was out clubbing, getting drunk, and making out with women at a bar. NBC caught wind and canceled him. Now, he was brought back later to perform as a guest and tried to make nice and sort of laugh it off. But I think that he learned his lesson. Or did he? Because last weekend, Wallen was stumbling home drunk and caught on video using some really bad language. And the most notable one, we refer to it as the N-word. Wallen was quick to apologize and say that he plans to learn from that and his behavior is inexcusable, but the damage was done because within 48 hours, he was basically taken off almost every legitimate radio station, country music station, in the United States and in Canada. So that's Cumulus Media, iHeartRadio, and even CMT has taken off Wallen's music. Now, taking it one step further is his record label, an independent label in Nashville, has also said that they are suspending his contract indefinitely. So, Bonnie, he's 27 years old. He's a father of a 6-month-old baby. Makes you wonder his behavior if he's going and making out with girls at a bar before appearing on SNL and then being racist on his way home. What are your overall thoughts on this story?
Well, I've got to tell you, JB, can you actually call this young man a man, an adult? Really, he has a lot to learn as far as I'm concerned. I'm very, very happy to hear that all those radio stations cut him off at the knees.
Well, and you know this, Bonnie, because when this story broke, I have to tell everybody, even Bonnie was like, who's Morgan Wallen? We've never played his music on our country music show, The Open Road. We never have. So our listeners just didn't really care for his music. Let's talk, though, about the family angle. So he was born to a Baptist pastor in Tennessee. And people are often saying that that's just how you grew up, though, in Tennessee. Now, again, 27 years old, so it's not like he was growing up back in the day. We can't even say that. This is a 27-year-old. Do you think that he was maybe just raised to think that this... Now, again, we don't know the family. We're speculating. Do you believe that because it's Tennessee and people just sort of use that as an excuse to use that language? What's your take?
Well, you know me, JB. I'm one of those traditionalists. I was born and raised traditionalist, right? Like my parents made sure I was polite, I was kind, I treated people with respect. And if I didn't, and I know this is going to throw a lot of these millennials off, and I'm sorry for that, but
No,
I
don't be
got
sorry.
spanked. I got spanked.
Oh, yeah.
We got spanked as kids. Like, I'm telling you, we couldn't sit down sometimes, you know? And we had to really make sure we acted appropriately. And to think that an area like Tennessee, no. I don't think they were raising their kids to be rude and call anybody names. I can't see that. And I certainly hope nobody will prove me wrong, but I certainly can't see that.
And I should point out, Bonnie is a grandmother who still likes being spanked, yeah?
Shame on you. Come on now.
But does this change things, the fact that he's a father to a 6-month-old, or as a, I don't want to say man, as a male, does it up the stakes because he's a father, or is it just still bad as bad?
You know, anyone who's taken on the role of father, mother, whatever you call yourself as a parent, there's no way you should be hanging out with a bunch of people at the bar, drinking and carousing and making excuses for yourself. I mean, come on, pull up your socks. Be a real man.
Well, there you go. And real men wear socks. Absolutely, everybody.
Well, hey, mine doesn't, but that's okay.
Well, let's get the spanker on the phone.
No way.
Bonnie, it was interesting that people are coming to Wallen's defense and saying it was caught on video. He was in his own home, on his own property, as almost a way to excuse the behavior. So the takeaway that I got, and you saw, Bonnie, you saw the tweets that I was getting from that one person on Wednesday. She was just picking a fight with people, which, if you've got nothing better to do than troll Twitter, have at it. But it was almost like she was saying he can do what he wants in his own home. And so people were saying, oh, okay, so racism is okay as long as it's on your own property. To me, I have to sit there and go, am I reading what I'm reading? Is that really what the person's saying?
Wow. So much for accountability, right? I was raised to believe that how you act at home should be how you act when you're out. So you better be acting appropriately at home, just like you're acting when you're out somewhere. Be accountable.
In theory, then, you almost think that, okay, if I'm standing on my property's sidewalk, I can say one thing. But if I take a step to the right and go on the public sidewalk, now I can't say it anymore. I don't understand that logic. Is it logic? Either. Yeah, at that point, it's not even logic.
No, there's no logic there. That's just making excuses and patting yourself so that you're nicely protected and don't have to be accountable.
Now, we see celebrities falling victim to this whole thing called cancel culture. We've all heard that term. Sometimes it's for good reason. Sometimes it's not for good reason. Sometimes it's almost like, whatever they did 10, 15, 20 years ago. Now, when we look at somebody like Harvey Weinstein, who is allegedly, he's accused of rape and whatever, if that was 20 years ago, okay, that's passable to come back and bite you in the ass and get you canceled today. But using a word, when you were a kid, maybe that's not grounds for canceling. But the fact is that the guy used the term today. So the question is, should he be canceled? Should he see his entire music career be up in smoke and done based on this one instance, Bon?
Oh, I think he should. Yeah, I do. I think he should. There's no way. I mean, you're an adult already. You may not be acting like one, but come on. If you've made that choice, well, you need to suffer the consequences. So sad, too bad.
Now, what's interesting, too, right, is that does cancel culture then get some validity or some credit to it when the big corporations, so we've already said them, iHeartRadio, CMT, when the record label, does that make it okay when they've all rallied together and said, you're done? Because chances are there could be just some small little record label that'll take a chance and say, hey, we're going to capitalize on this and not care about their reputation or whatever. Music is music, some people are saying. Is music music, or can we not listen to his music anymore?
You know what? There's always going to be those who will listen to what they want to listen to. They'll say what they want to say. There's always that segment of society. And how do you control that?
Well, you can't. And what's interesting, though, and so in terms of cancel culture, yeah, here's the deal. When R. Kelly, we know that song, I Believe I Can Fly, or some Michael Jackson, I was right on key there, and some Michael Jackson songs. When I've tweeted some of them as a song of the day, people jump on me and say, you're supporting a child molester, and R. Kelly raped all these women, but it's like, first of all, that song was 20 some years ago. I'm not promoting or buying his music today. So just because I own his CD that I bought 20 years ago, am I supposed to go and burn it now, never listen to it again? Or do I stop my support from today going forward and not pay him more money by buying his music?
Well, I think it's all relative to the information you have, the facts that you know, and what did you know back then? And what do you know now? So, yeah, so exactly. I think it just all depends on where you're at with the knowledge you have.
Right. And so the argument that these people are making, and what I'm trying to piggyback on, I'm not sure if I'm articulating, is that the people say, well, his music is great. Yes, that's fine, but we're going to take a stand and not play it anymore, because by us not playing it, he's not getting paid then. That's what we're saying. You can like his music. We're not saying don't ever listen to him again. We're saying we don't play it, which in turn hurts his pocketbook. That hurts his bank account. So love his music. He's made a lot of money selling the CDs and doing the concerts that he has. But from today forward, we are not playing his music. Again, we never have. So I'm just saying we as a collective broadcaster.
Right.
So that's what it is. We're not supporting you going forward. That's what it is. Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to explain it. Good way to look at it.
So you took PR in school, just as I did. Now, admittedly, PR has changed the PR industry has changed since both of us were in school. But,
oh, wow, has it ever?
But what should he do now? I mean, not that we're going to be his crisis control team here, but should he lay low for a year? Should he, we've seen, you said his apology kind of falls flat right now, because that's just what's expected of you. Where does he go from here, Bon?
It's funny you should ask, because all along I've just been thinking one thing. Man, this guy got to grow up. And that's all I can say. He's got to grow up. Like, you're not 16 anymore. Grow up, buddy.
Okay, so if he takes that advice, so there we go. There's a PR strategy. Lay low for a year, 2 years. Work on music, hopefully maybe educate your kid. He's 6 months old, but still you can educate your kid at 6 months. And maybe he's born again all of a sudden. And in 2 years he makes this triumphant comeback because I'm mature. I'm supporting black organizations. Maybe I'm going to maybe I'm supporting their causes. Is that enough to redeem himself?
Hey, you never know. It depends on the organizations he's going to get involved with, and maybe he will. But people will have their own way of deciding as to whether or not they'll forgive the guy. And I mean, on a basic level, I'm all about forgiveness, but man, you got to prove yourself to me before I'm going to forgive you. And maybe I shouldn't be so harsh, but
Well, yeah. And I know this morning there was a tweet that you showed me that I was still laughing at. Something to the effect the person had said, alcohol doesn't make me racist. Right? Doesn't that pack a punch though? You're racist, period. If you're racist, you're racist. Just because you had vodka or beer, it doesn't bring out the racism in you. You are racist. Plain and simple, no? Or do you agree or disagree with that?
well, I think if you're racist, you're racist. It
Right.
has nothing to do with what you eat or what you drink, or
Right.
you are who you are.
There's no differentiation between sober racism and intoxicated racism, I guess.
Exactly. Alcohol would just intensify it, perhaps.
And as we wrap this up on, name me 2 Morgan Wallen songs. Exactly, everybody, exactly.
Right. Yeah, there they are.
I should point out that he was a contestant on The Voice in 2014, which is probably why you've never
so I've
heard of him.
yes.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. Well, Bon, thanks for the engaging conversation, and go blast your country music tunes. Okay.
Oh, sure thing, JB, and have a great week, okay?
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble, joining you during what should be awards show season. Now, this year is a little bit different, right? One, you still don't care about award shows. And it seems like I have this discussion every year on our syndicated radio shows here on the podcast. And in case you've missed it, I know we have a whole bunch of new listeners just in recent months. I'm gonna tell you my thoughts about award shows, and then I want to hear your opinion. Send me an email, live@jbonair.com. Now, there's so many factors that go into TV ratings nowadays. And really what that means is people aren't necessarily watching TV shows live. So traditionally, when ratings were taken, it was people that were watching live. You had no choice unless you VCR'd it and you taped a show and then you watched it. Well, now they incorporate DVR numbers. Canadians, you know it as a PVR. And, the ratings will count if you still watch it within that 7 days of being recorded. I mean, there's so many different measurements. But the bottom line is that traditional TV network shows, so those are your shows on, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, they were kind of the only ones in the ball game. Now you have streaming services. Now you have a show, let's say on Netflix or Amazon, that drops an entire season in one day, or, a bunch of episodes in 1 week. So you don't have that typical, okay, I've got to wait until next Tuesday to watch the episode of such and such. Because people just don't have that sort of patience nowadays. So when it comes to award shows, we saw that with the Emmys, where there was 1 year where I don't know that any of the primetime Emmys I'm talking, I think there was 1 year where none of the major networks had won. And then some of them didn't even have a nomination in a bunch of the categories. And so the TV landscape has changed. There's no denying that. Streaming services have really taken over. Now, so there's that, really. And again, I'm an entertainment reporter. Back when I started doing this 15 years ago on the radio, I had heard of all of the nominees. Like, that's how limited TV was. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. Obviously, having more selection is good for anything, right? And so what I'm saying is that it's different. So when I would get on the phone with, Nancy O'Dell, she was the host of Entertainment Tonight for so many years, she would do our award show preview with me. We could have genuine conversation because we had watched the shows, we knew of them. If we hadn't seen the show, maybe we know the star, so we can talk about how they are in it. And then in recent years, it wasn't with her, it was with another entertainment show. She left ET, and so we had to sort of find somebody else. And then that host was just a complete disaster, a clusterfuck. Because, and again, when you talk about the snubs and the surprises with awards nominations, I mean, that's all relative, right? Because you might say, I guess Meryl Streep does movies, but let's say somebody like Meryl Streep, who you just know is a legend and is great, and there's no questioning her talent, and she might get snubbed because, for all those exact reasons, right? She's a legend. She's great. And so, even when you consider a snub, well, in the eyes of who, right? Somebody who just watches and blogs from their couch, or somebody who's a columnist at the LA Times, right? Like, it all depends on who you ask as to what constitutes a snub. So when it comes to award shows now, you've got all of those elements that I just talked about. And secondly, you're talking about shows, or let's say even in the case of the Grammys. So let's talk music then. You've got Grammys where Rihanna or Drake or Justin Bieber or The Weeknd or Miley Cyrus, whoever, their song is nominated from last April. You are sick of hearing that song already. And Miley has 3 more songs that have come out. Demi Lovato has 4 more songs out, and you haven't listened to that song. So because we're in such a fleeting news cycle, and we have short attention spans, and okay, I love that Demi Lovato song on April 4th, I listened to that 17 times. On the 5th, I listened to it 10 times. On the 6th, I listened to it 4 times, and then I was sick of it, and I don't want to hear it ever again. Well, that 1 year, think about that, right? How long a year is, especially nowadays. Think about how long a year is. Not to say that you've forgotten about that song, but you're just so over it because she's already moved on to other songs. Ditto on the Oscars. You might have, Tom Cruise or whoever. Oh, he's already got 2 more movies out since then. So why do I care that he's winning an award for a movie that I don't love anymore? I loved it last spring, not this winter. And so I think that that's a big part of why people don't care about award shows. Now, then the other side of that is people used to tune into award shows and red carpets because they could get take a glance at their favorite celebrity. Well, now with social media, I know almost every thought that Chrissy Teigen is having, so I don't need to see her on a red carpet because she's also going to Instagram her dress either before she gets there or during the ceremony or after at a party. So what do I need to watch the red carpet for? And we've seen that. We've seen the ratings go down significantly year over year and show over show. So, we get the ratings every day it's 11 o'clock Central, I think, when they come in between 10 and 11. And those are the days when I really look forward to it. It's the Monday, the day after the award show, that I am really intrigued to see. It doesn't matter if hashtag Oscars is trending, or hashtag Emmys, or hashtag Grammys, or Bieber Grammys is trending. That means sweet fuck all in terms of the ratings. That just means people are talking about it. It doesn't mean you're tuning in. And so I'm intrigued to see because, the Oscars used to be the TV event. Well, I guess Super Bowl first and foremost was generally always number 1, and then you had the Oscars, and now both numbers are going down in terms of viewership. Now, when we had, and again, Nancy O'Dell was on with us for many years talking award shows, we had a discussion about that, and she said, well, I think a big part of it is that you don't have to watch the entire show anymore because people are going to pull those clips, you're going to see the memes, you're going to just even read about it on Twitter because those award show nights, think about it, if you follow 100 people, there's a good chance that some of them, and again, it depends on the type of people you follow, but, chances are one of your friends is going to be watching. You most likely follow a celebrity on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, you're probably following a celebrity. And if they're associated with that award show, so if you follow Miley or Rihanna and you're watching, or they're at the Grammys, or you're, well then, you're going to see some tweets about the award show, but that doesn't mean that you're watching it, right? And so that's kind of where we've become, is that everybody ends up being a news reporter, a news outlet during award shows. Because truthfully, I have TweetDeck open on my screen when I'm, live tweeting or whatever, because it's my job. And almost I would say every fifth tweet is somebody saying, so-and-so wins Best Picture, so-and-so wins Best Director, so-and-so wins, whatever. And I don't know why people do that, because we all are kind of all watching the same thing at the same time. So, maybe it is to inform those who aren't watching. But that's sort of, there's so many elements, I think, into why award shows aren't popular anymore. Now, let's take a look at what's been happening over the past year, right? In the grand scheme of things, do we care that Hollywood is patting itself on the back week after week after week? Trust me, it was exciting. When I first started doing entertainment reporting and covering red carpets and going and, meeting with these people and talking with them and talking shop, basically, on a red carpet, it was exciting. Absolutely. I'm not going to deny that. But over the course of, several years now, as we've seen the decline, I don't even think celebrities care to go to these things. Or, admittedly, yes, Schitt's Creek had a great night at the Emmys, right, not that long ago. And that was exciting for them because this was, this little Canadian show or, and they made it big. They swept, really. And now, you see so much controversy about the Grammys, right? With, The Weeknd getting pressured into not performing at the Super Bowl halftime show and the Grammys at the, the next weekend or whatever it was. And then you hear cries of racism because it's Grammy so white, because there aren't enough, there isn't enough diversity in the nominations. So award shows have become so political. It's like the Olympics in a way. And all of these elements, I think, have just sort of tarnished the idea. And again, going back to the pandemic, there's just bigger things to worry about in the world. Yes, you could say that entertainment is escapism, just like movies were, right? During wars and things like that and depression, people would go to movies as an escape. But it's a little bit different now because celebrities, almost all celebrities, chime in politically as well. And they get on the soapbox. And that was something that, when we talk about award shows on our radio shows after, you have so many people that just say, I don't care about them getting on their soapbox. And I think that maybe some of the celebrities only go there now because if I win, now I've got this opportunity to have, 10 million people hear my rant or say to fuck Trump or whatever it might be, right? You know what I'm talking about. And so tell me what you think about award shows. And for me, it was also just exhausting because yes, I had to watch and sit through them and tweet them and then talk about them later that night and then the next morning on the radio. Meanwhile, I didn't give two shits about them. So award show season has been moved back this year thanks to the pandemic, the inauguration, just a whole bunch of things, and it doesn't now start until the end of February. Normally, at this point in January, we've at least had, I think, the Golden Globes and the Screen Actors Guild Awards. We've had at least two of them by now. But everything has shifted a little bit. So it's unclear whether I'm going to be covering them for our award shows or for our radio shows, excuse me, and if we're going to talk about them here on the podcast. I don't know. Because again, who cares? Really, who cares? So anyway, send me your thoughts. Send me an email live@jbonair.com. live@jbonair.com.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter @The Scribble Show and @thescribbleshow.com.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. In our final remaining moments, I sort of kicked off the show by saying, don't be stupid this weekend. Certainly don't be racist, and don't be reckless when it comes to your Super Bowl parties. Don't have a Morgan Wallen weekend, day, because you might not have it tomorrow, at least for your career anyway. So feel free to give me a shout. Would love to know your thoughts on this discussion that we had today. It's always intriguing. And the big question, just from other people that I was seeing on social media, is it enough of a racism talk that we're having in the world? Should we stop focusing on it? Should we stop dwelling on it, shining the spotlight on it? I'm not saying one way or the other. I would just love to know your thoughts. Email live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. I will talk to you same time, same place next week here on The Scribble. Have a responsible weekend, everybody. I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye for now.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,